All righty, guys. We've got our product, or should I say, products of the week. We have a special request, and the people want to hear about sheaths, trays, and blocks. So, Dominic, go ahead and take it away.
Awesome. Well, first off, I want to say great job, Xander. That was awesome. Uh, I don't know how you found my backpack online, but that was crazy. Um, yeah, I'm definitely putting that back on after I finish branching. But one thing actually, Xander, I would say you missed, and it's something I've only seen through experience, is the camaraderie that you get being a branch manager. I mean, I'm in like three different group chats with people that are about to run their first offices. Like we're all so nervous and we're all pushing each other. It's awesome. I'm texting people all the time about it. So that's just one extra thing for you guys to look forward to for that. But I am talking about basically storage options. So specifically the blocks, trays, and sheets. And I'm going to teach you guys how to sell them. And here's why this is really important, and you guys probably hear this in the manual. It's, Mrs. Jones, it's not very safe if you just have these high quality knives sitting in a drawer somewhere. That can be pretty dangerous. Most of my customers, I've talked to them after they've had their Cutco for a while, and they're like, it's weird. I haven't cut myself, cutting food because I'm careful, but it's when I'm grabbing it out of the dishwasher or when I'm, grabbing it from wherever. It's basically when they're actually not using it, that's when they cut themselves because they're not paying attention. So it's important to have a safe place to put them. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is not only is it safer, it also just looks better to have at least one of these options. I've talked to it, it shocked me. I've talked to quite a few customers, past customers that have like their cardboard sheets that the knives come in from packaging and they use those for years. And I'm like, really? Like like imagine pulling that out in front of your friends. That just looks weird. And like I'm not trying to diss on these people, but you don't want to make them have to do that at their next dinner party. Like help Mrs. Jones get some nice sheets at the very least, and at best, have her get an elegant block to sit on her countertop. That's why we should want to do this. But really, the secret to selling these things isn't to make them sound like they're this amazing thing. It's a block, it's wood, it's meant to hold knives. It's a plastic tray. It just sits in your drawer. You're not gonna wow them with how amazing these things are. You just have to let them know that it's just what makes sense to do, and it's what everybody does. Like Mrs. Jones, yeah, most people they're gonna get a safe storage option just because it makes sense. Most of my customers they do the blocks. Some of them like they do the trays, and then if they really need to, they do the sheets. And you always talk most of my customers. Uh, Make it feel normal because it is. It's what most people do because it makes sense. Now, that's how you sell them. Now, as far as the specifics of selling them and things you guys should know, just some tips and tricks of what I've learned. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Jacob, can you give me permission?
No, you can now.
All right, awesome. So there we go. I'm going to share my screen. So when you're in Vector Connect, uh, there I'm going to start off with the blocks. One thing, when I'm with a customer and I'm making a like list, they're going to ask you, you're going to talk about storage options. You're going to say, all right, Mrs. Jones, we've got your 5 favorite knives. How do you want to store those? And let's say they're like, I really wanted a block, Dominic, and I've had this happen to me. And let's say they have some knives that don't come in a block. They're not one of our built-in sets. So yeah, you sort of have to get creative. And you're like, I don't know if this will fit there, that'll fit here. A little cheat code that you guys should know, not really a cheat code, but just something you guys should know. You can go ahead and if you click on the picture of any block, you can actually scroll over, click this little zoom button at the bottom right. If you didn't see, that's what I clicked. And now you can look and it'll show you any of the spaces. So like this is space A, and I know that, okay, any of these knives are looking for it. So let's say Mrs. Jones wanted to know if the salmon knife would fit in that slot. I'm gonna look down. Oh, there's the salmon knife. It fits in there, Mrs. Jones. We can do that. This also helps if you're ever substituting knives for a customer. Let's say like Mrs. Jones is like, you know what? I actually don't need, a bread knife. We don't really do bread ever. We usually just buy it at the store pre-cut. But I do cut up watermelons. I do, prep meats every now and then. So I do need a salmon knife. Cool. we'll throw a salmon knife in there instead, Mrs. Jones. Let's just make sure that fits there, and you can go here and double check. Or one that a lot of people might do is, the cheese knife for the spatula spreader, whatever it may be. You just have to look and see what you can substitute. This is going to help you serve your customers better whenever they want to customize. So that's really helpful. Always go to these. It's great to get an idea of what to use and where everything fits and what you can substitute. So that's for the blocks, getting those. And also just on selling the blocks, like just talk it up to Mrs. Jones. The only part where you're really going to sell them is how nice it's going to look if it's a block. You're not going to sell them on how nice the tray is going to look or the sheaths. Those are just there for safety. But if they're getting a block, you're going to say, Mrs. Jones, like that cherry, it looks so great with the white, or it looks so great with the black. Like, I just love the way it pops. And it's nothing crazy, but you're just going to say, like, the way the colors look, it just looks really nice. That's the most you're going to sell it. Otherwise, it's just normal. It's what most people do. Now, if it comes to, they want a tray, a knife, or what am I doing? Oh, no, there it is. If they want a tray, this is only if Mrs. Jones is like, you know what, Dominic, or you know what, Xander, I just don't have space on my countertops. I have space on my countertops. I just don't like putting things out. I hate the clutter. I just don't like having things up. No problem, Mrs. Jones. We can get a knife and fork tray, or just we can use a tray. And they can do this one of two ways. They can actually mount these up if they want, which is pretty cool. Yes, there we go. They can actually mount these up if they want. There is like a little thing on the back so you can mount it. Or they can set it up on their countertop, as you can see in this picture. Or they can also fit them into their drawers. And if they're ever like, I don't know if this will fit. Like I remember I did a demo for Navis Dunn. She had owned Cutco for 30 years. She had nine table knives for 30 years. That's all she cut food with. I was like, what are you eating that you only need 9 table knives? That's just ridiculous to me. So I got her a set. Don't worry. I just helped her out. Yeah, she was being Wolverine or something, Jacob. I don't know. No, she was a really sweet lady. But anyways, you can actually go into product specifications if they're like, I don't know where it fits. That's what Navis asked me. She was like, I trays make sense, but I just want to know if this will fit. We went in here, we got the dimensions. So you just click on, I'll do it again. You just click on product specifications and you get this. And you'll see the dimensions. All right, it's 6 1/4 of an inch wide. So, and she literally walked over, got a ruler. You can do it for them and like looked in their drawer. Like, oh, yeah, that'll fit. Wide's fine. Height's good. The length is perfect. Just get everything, make sure it'll fit. All right, Mrs. Jones, you're all set. That way they know if it'll fit in their drawer. We did the same thing. She actually got table knife trays as well, because she had the 9 table knives. She was like, instead of just leaving them out, let's actually have a nice way to store them. So that's what we did for her too. So we just measured it all, got it all to fit. It was really nice. And you can do the same thing with the homemaker block. So again, just product specifications. If they're like, actually don't remember the couple's name. That's pretty bad. But I remember I had some customers where they were getting a signature block and they were like, that thing looks big in the picture. I don't know if it's going to fit on our counter with the way we have everything set up. We didn't want it too close to the toaster so it doesn't ever catch on fire or it doesn't get burned or like look bad. So we went ahead and I got them the dimensions right here, made sure it fit. Really simple. That way you can just serve your customers best. And again, with the knife and fork tray, same thing. If they're ever like, I want to substitute this, you want to customize it. This is really going to help you guys out for when you're closing on like lists or 5 pieces. Again, that's the staple of our game is, those smaller orders. All of those orders add up. You're going to have a lot of those. They're going to say, hey, I want 5 pieces in a tray. You can say, all right. And let's say they want to customize it. If they're doing 5 pieces in a tray, most of the time, it's not one of the tray sets. So you're going to go in here and make sure everything is going to fit in the right slot. Don't spend too much time on this. I recommend you glance it over every now and then just so you get the chance to know it. But if you're spending the whole demo like, does that fit? Does that fit? Does that fit? You're going to turn off the customer. So don't spend too much time on this. But this is just good to know in case there's ever 1 or 2 instances where you're like, okay, just got to make sure that'll fit. You'll have a general idea. If you've seen a tray before, you'll know, okay, I'm like 90% sure that's going to fit. Double check. All right, good. So this is just here if you really need it to make sure that stuff fits. And that way you can close it because your customer feels comfortable knowing that it's going to fit and work for their situation. Now, last thing is the sheets. And I know I'm a little bit of a weirdo. I never use the search bar. I just never did. And now I know how to use this. So whenever I'm on Vector Connect, I just habitually scroll down and go through the slots. I know where everything is that way. Uh, but for you guys, the only one I really recommend you use is storage, because you can just scroll down, click on storage, and I recommend you use this for when your customers want sheets on like a 5-piece or something like that, or even something smaller, because it's just easier. You don't have to search it up. Like you can search up each individual sheath. It just takes a second. So if you just click on storage options and scroll down, you can literally go, oh, here, my customer is getting a Santoku style trimmer. They're getting a petite Santoku, the 5-inch, and then, oh, yep, they're also getting a salmon knife. And you can just click, click, click. So I like it this way. Makes it really convenient. And again, with these, make sure at the very least your customers are getting these sheets. I literally like to use them in my deals. I like to use it for package pricing. If you guys don't remember, or maybe this is something new to you guys, we never show the customers what the price is on each individual piece or each individual item, because they're going to say, oh, you know what, that thing, I don't need that, because they go straight into price shopping mode. We don't want them to do that. We want to show them everything as a package. So what I'm going to say, and I'm going to empty my cart really quickly, and I'll don't worry, Jacob, I'll take this off really, really quickly because I realize I'm talking way too long. But if my customer is like, let's go ahead and just do the Hardy Slicer and Santoku. I'm forgetting this is product of the week. You gave me the floor, Jacob. I talk way too much. You should know this by now. And I'm on a fever right now. I can't think straight. But let's go to storage options. And I'm going to present this all as one thing. So let's go to 7-inch Santoku, click, and then Hardy Slicer was actually right next to it. So click, click, and I can look at it. All right, Mrs. Jones, your normal price is $378, and you just bonus both of these. It's a really great way to save yourself CPO and still give them a deal. I saved you $24 on your payments. And guys, remember, we're not like cheapskating the customer. Cutco is the deal. It's an amazing product. It's gonna last forever. Don't feel bad for giving your customers like everything at face value, because it's just a great thing for them regardless. And if they're willing to pay for it, they're willing to pay for it. Most companies don't give away, half or 30% of what they're selling. It's, yes, we can do that, but that doesn't mean you have to. You shouldn't do that, because Cutco the value is way above the price, like way, way above. So don't feel bad if you're giving them face value or only a little bit of a deal. You're helping them out. And the reason this is green is because it's best for both of you. So this is a great way to give them a little bit of a deal, and you'll say, Mrs. Jones, I saved you $24. It's a great way to just knock these off. I recommend just giving these as the deal instead of one knife off or anything like that. You present it as, you're saving them $20. So that's the sheaths, knives, and blocks, or sheaths, blocks, and trays. Sorry, I went too long, Jacob. I will let myself stop.
Let's give it up for Dominic. All right.